All right, we're live. How's everybody doing? Raymond, what's going on? Oh, I always love the delay between when I start the live stream and what shows up on probably y'all's viewing device because of the delay. Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Cool. Doing good. You know, not much going on with me, you know, just ordinary stuff, working and, you know, not a whole lot happening right now. Yep. Yep, it happens. Just ordinary stuff going on. Renegade, what's up? Oscro, hello. So I figured I'd start out talking about, there was an article that got posted about, and I've already done a video on it. It'll either come out Monday or Wednesday, but a TikToker blasted her local shops because they couldn't do her brake job. And you know, because it's a late model vehicle, you need a scan tool to do brakes on it. And, you know, they're going, you have to take it to the dealership. You have to take it to we're locked out. And horribly written article. I mean, just horribly written. And, I mean, like they misspelled brakes. Like you're a professional writer and you don't understand the difference between brake and brakes. But anyway, it just shows, you know, how messed up this industry is, that there's so many shops out there that still are so poorly equipped to work on modern vehicles. We're not talking, you know, a Lamborghini or Bentley or something. We're talking a Nissan. They should be able to have the tools to work on it. But it was just a sign of, you know, as far as the industry has come, it still has a long, long ways to go. Beaver, Santana, what's up? Positivity Incarnate, how's my Matco air hammer holding up? It's worn in. I'd put it, you know, before when I reviewed it, I'd said it when it was new, it hit slightly harder than the Snap-on, slightly. You know, comparing it against a used Snap-on, you know, beat the living snot out of my Snap-on. I still have both. I still use both. At this point, they're probably about equal. So it is, you know, worn in a little bit. It still works great. Still hits just as hard as the Snap-on. I can't complain. You know, you know, that was one of the tools I bought because it was orange and for video. Stormy Young, anybody else having problems getting parts lately? Always. Getting quality parts quickly has sucked. Renegade, I was about to say, what kind of shop doesn't have proper scan tools? Ghetto shops. It's simple as that. It's you know, she's a Nissan driver. Let's establish that first. We've all worked on the pile of crap Altimas and Sentries, and you know, where they're just tore to bits, and you know, her late model car is probably beat to hell and back, probably running on a donut. So she's probably taking it to ghetto, you know, like corner tire shop that work on cars. And, you know, Renegade, I know I have DIYers in my audience that, you know, have scan tools that are capable of doing rear brakes on a late model Nissan. There's no reason a professional shop should not have the ability to at least do that. You know, maybe not, they don't have the skill level to diagnose complex issues, but they should be able to afford a scan tool to do brakes. And they shouldn't be saying, you know, send it to the dealer, because any marginally equipped shop should be able to do brakes on a late model vehicle with electronic parking brakes. So, yeah. Raymond Lopez, question about CAN, low and high. What is the best way to diagnose more efficiently? Scope. Scope is going to be the best way to diagnose a CAN system. You can monitor the CAN system as you unplug modules. You'll see, you know, the signal go back to normal once you find a bad module, or in the case of a terminating resistor, something, you know, like I found out, you know, GM is now putting plug-in terminating resistors in their vehicles. Really good information to know. But that's one of the things, is a scan tool, a scope with a breakout box is going to be your best way to diagnose a CAN system. Resistance is only going to get you so far, and that really only works well if one of your terminating resistors is offline. So a scope is going to be the best way. A simple, you know, 2-channel scope, you can diagnose a CAN network. Now, preferably use a breakout box at the OBD2 if it's actually connected to the OBD2, because a lot of cars nowadays don't have direct access to CAN. Talking to you, Chrysler products. But that's the most effective way. Renegade, how does it compare to Big Nasty, the Big Shank? It's not as strong. I've never had enough air for Big Nasty, to be honest. Big Nasty hits hard, but it's slow. So it's something that it's just a difference. Like, it hits harder, but its hammer isn't as fast. So, like, getting rusty stuff loose, I don't think the Big Nasty's as effective as like a snap-on to the Matco, simply because it hammers faster. So you tend to shake the part. Yeah, that won't be clipped. Tends to shake the part and break the rust loose a little better. But when you're trying to hammer out something that's like a ball joint, Big Nasty works great. But I've never had, in my opinion, enough air to properly power that tool. Charles Johnstone, my Natco guy got a new truck. I got a hat, 2 shirts, and ordered a Lexus CV axle lockout tool. It's to undo the stake in the axle nut. That is a very valuable tool. I have seen many people destroy a Lexus or Toyota CV axle not unstaking it. It will rip the threads on those all the time if you don't unstake it. So yeah, that's a really important tool. It literally, my tool sits in my, the socket for the 12-point axle nuts, because it's an essential tool for working on those. Because like I said, I can't tell you how many I've seen destroyed. Robert A. got the vacuum refiller you recommended last live. Now I just need the adapters. Any recommendations? Unfortunately, your options for a complete kit is going to be, the only complete kits out there are on all the tool trucks. Matco, Mac, Snap-on, Cornwell, they're all from the same supplier of that vacuum filler. They're good. I have no problems with them. the other option is going to be individually pricing them out. You can look on Amazon for Stant adapters and buy the ones you need. You can go to, and you can use your adapters off your pressure tester as well, by the way. It's just a standard Stant cap. Or you can buy them from Oscilloscope, which is really expensive when you price them out. Buy the kit from the Snap-on truck or Matco. Just wait for a sale. But that is your best idea on you know, on getting those adapters. It's honestly, because you can't, I've tried, trust me, I've tried to find that company's adapters, because Amazon affiliates, you know, if I could find it on Amazon, I could put it in, you know, I'd put it out there and make sure everybody knows about it, but they don't sell retail. They do not sell to anybody but, you know, big companies. And as far as I can tell, the only companies they sell it to is the tool truck brands and Proto. You might, maybe find the Proto kit on Amazon, but I haven't seen it but a couple times, and every time I've looked for it, it hasn't been there. So unfortunately, that's your best get. That's your best bet, is to either buy the kit when it's on sale off the tool trucks, buy them individually, either from Amazon, or, you know, buy them from Oscilloscope and spend a bunch of money, which FYI, their adapters are not warranted. As I had one blow apart. They're not warranted. It's a press fit, and, well, it blew apart on me. It sucked. Full clip 69. Livestream didn't start until I closed it from a half hour ago and opened a new one, LOL. I mean, that's YouTube stuff. That's not me. Not much I can do with that. I don't know how they do it on their end. I open the stream and connect it to my streaming software, and I just hit go live. So, Motor City Mechanic, what's up? How you doing? Do you still have any of your Milwaukee beer left? That Spotted Cow. Raymond Lopez, what scope is recommended? Honestly, I would recommend either a Pico or an ATS. They're both going to be fast enough for a scope as far as CAN network. But that would be what I would push you towards, is, you know, is towards a Pico, but Snap-on will work for it. The Hanatech scope will work for it as well. You know, pretty much any 2-channel scope will work fine. Diagnosing it, as long as you set everything right. It's obviously the crux of scope usage is setting it up right. Eric Jano, PO172, that's a code on an 09 Impala with a 3.9. Any idea? Look at ethanol content. Is it a flex fuel vehicle? On a PO72, I'd be looking hard at the mass airflow sensor. Especially look for debris. I've had that happen with, I believe it was around that era, Impala. But look for a skewed mass airflow sensor and your ethanol content. David Pike over Motor City Mechanic. Spotted Cow long gone long time ago, still having withdrawals as a result. He loves his cheese curds and Spotted Cow. That's a beer. That's a regional beer that you can only get in Wisconsin. And every time he's in Milwaukee, he buys as much as he can carry. But they only sell it in the state of Wisconsin. So if you want background on the Spotted Cow. But yeah, that's what I'd be looking at, is either you've got a skewed ethanol percentage or mass airflow sensor would be the big ones. After that, you know, you're going to start having to look at injectors leaking. That's, you know, stuck fuel pressure regulators, stuff like that. But I'd be looking heavy at the mass airflow sensor and the Philly D, what's up? Mass airflow sensor and the alcohol percentage. Obviously, if it's a flex fuel vehicle. If it's not a flex fuel, it won't have that. But GM has had quite a bit of problems with flex fuel implementations. But fun fact, with a bug on a mass airflow sensor, that generation of GMs will not run with a dead bug on the hot wire. Ask me how I know. So it's fun diagnosing a car by unplugging a mass airflow sensor and driving it in for a no start. Paulo, what's up? A couple live streams ago, and Andrew Leet said, I just got some from Matco Redbacks, and they just started selling blood stone boots in their flyer. I never have worn them, so I have no idea how their quality is. You know, let's look at it. Very similar to Redbacks. I don't know how oh, okay. Got a little confused there. I looked at the part number as the price. It's like $2,000. I mean, like I said, I have no experience with them, so I don't know how good they are. Joseph Espinoza had an old Ford filter cone break. It would flip up, plug the intake. Yes. I've unfortunately had that happen a few times. As Renegade says, yeah, dirty mass airflow sensor is the most caused of a PO172, Rich. Yep. Joseph, yeah, I've also had where on the E-Vans, a aftermarket air filter causing a lean code, where the fix was literally putting a motorcraft in. Paulo, yeah, Max sells Redbacks as well. You can buy them on Amazon if they're, you know. Positivity Incarnate. Are there any special tools for installing lug nut studs? Yes. Right here. Lisle 2280, Lisle 22800 wheel stud installer. Real simple. You put it in the back if you can have access. I usually hold it a little bit with my finger and take a lug nut, impact it in until it stops moving, pull it out, and it's got a little bearing in it. Pretty easy. It is a tool that will wear out on you. It will wear out. The bearing will compress, and it'll have to be replaced. If you're talking about Same. Now, if you're talking about Europeans without studs and you're wanting a quick, easier tool to use to put European wheels on there, wheel hanger sets are available. This is a CTA, it's just the first one I found. But there's whole kits. I think even Harbor Freight sells some. In various sizes, depending on the manufacturer of the wheel you're looking at or the vehicle you're looking at. But that's, you know, they're real easy. R3YNZ, what do you think of the ADD eye tool? Did you see the demo in Mario's video? I have not. I have, like I said, I have not seen that video yet. He posted about it on Facebook, but I haven't watched it. And it ain't coming up in Google search. So I'm going to show the audience what he's talking about, but no, I haven't really looked into it. Charles Johnstone, what best practices inspecting Nissan air filter housings and replacing air filters? Noticed how easily the MAFs can cause issues with Nissan. Any advice with Nissan MAF? Depends a lot on how the filter housing is set up. Like the 350s or the ones with the slide-in ones, try to take a vacuum hose and kind of vacuum out the housing if you can. That's one of the biggest things, is because you'll pull it out and all the debris will kind of go forward towards the mass airflow sensor and then get stuck on the mass airflow sensor. Other ones really is not much of a concern. You just pop the thing up and you pop the filter out, or, you know, but those I would try to vacuum out if you can, because that's where the worst are going to be, is when you've got the dual intakes and you got the filters that slide down, and those are a much bigger bitch if you have to have a problem with them. Harbor Freight Maddox pressure tester adapters. I'm pretty sure. You talking about these? Let's search that again. X adapters. That's cool. So if you're talking about these, oh, full clips. I before anybody, I like I said, I don't have any. It's just how YouTube kind of works. I don't have any good reason. I wasn't blaming you or saying it was against me or anything like that. It's just YouTube stuff. If you're talking about this looks like either a copy of or rebrand of the Redline kit. It looked a little different though. No, it's the same kit. It's really, really, really important when pressure testing with these kind of adapters that you make sure they're completely dry and whatever you're putting them into is also completely dry. They work well up to a point, but don't hold your face over them. I have had my adapters pop out unexpectedly. When I didn't have the right adapter, like I said, I have the Redline kit. But it's really important they're dry because otherwise they can just pop out. This kit looks like a rebranded from the company. It literally looks exactly like the kit that is sold by Matco, Mac, Snap-on, etc. It's all made by the same company with different accoutrements. So probably the exact same quality adapters that are in that kit because they're probably made by the exact same company. That would be my guess on this kit. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. It's identical to the kits, even down to the gauge. Because my, that's the gauge my, my Matco uses. So yeah. So yeah. Haro Rider, any special must-have tools for Mercedes-Benz? You need this tool right here. Various companies make it, but is a 17 millimeter funky lug nut socket. Do not use a regular 17 millimeter on those lug nuts. They will destroy them. Buy this socket. Like I said, it's 1779 from Sunex. There's many other companies that sell it. CTA, FCP Euro is, well, let's haze it. But yeah, buy that tool for sure. You will need that tool. You need inverted Torx. They love inverted Torx, so make sure you get those. I don't have a lot of experience working on Mercedes. It's kind of a brand that, because of their proprietary nature of some of their programming and stuff like that, I tend to avoid because I'm on the wrong screen. Yeah, Robert A., that one with the pump looks identical to Matco. It's made by the same company. It looks identical to it. They all buy from the same company. All the adapters are the exact same. They're all from the same company. So I guess they're buying it from there too, which might be, they might come out with the full adapter kit, which would be awesome if they came out with that adapter kit, because it comes in a case and has, all the adapters that aren't in the base tool, which would be really cool. Because that'd be a nice discount from the tool trucks. Eric Jano, what is your work hours? 7:30 to 5:30 hour lunch. Buttfinger Esquire, Snap-on truck comes by every 2 weeks. It's hard to do business with a tool truck that comes by every 2 weeks. Or a local store that operates like a tool truck without wheels, carries brands like Lisle, Gear Wrench, and Proto. I'd probably just go to the physical store rather than waiting for, Snap-on guy to show up and charge you a bunch of money. JDB64, need a good scan tool. What do you recommend? Let me know what you work on, what kind of vehicles you work on, how in depth you need to go on those vehicles. You know, give me some backgrounds. Stoic Steel. Speaking of tools, the shop just got a series of paper service manuals for a CM871 Cummins this week. Really? Paper manuals? Please tell me they didn't send you a CD with the manuals on them and there's a portal for you to go online and get them, or at least a PDF. God, that's horrible, man. I don't have fond memories of working with paper manuals. They sucked. And somebody always put a dirty thumbprint where you needed the information, like Torx specs. Joseph Espinoza, I have a 2017 Ford, need camshaft holding tool to do a water pump. Don't want to buy it if I'm only going to use it once. You need the tool. You need the tool. Buy the tool. There is no workaround on that one. You need the tool. Hero Router, you're welcome. Paulo, Mercedes are becoming monsters with their software not playing. No. They are getting so ridiculous. You know, there's companies out there that are very aftermarket friendly. You know, Toyota, GM, Ford, even Stellantis, you know, whatever Stellantis or whatever the heck it is, you know, Fiat and all that. They're at least reasonably friendly to the aftermarket. Not as friendly as I would like, but they're still somewhat friendly. You know, Toyota is great. BMW is good. The ones that suck the most, you know, are the ones that, you know, have you know, like buying a Mercedes-Benz scan tool is $24,000 to get the OEM tool. And they decide whether or not you get it. You have to apply to get their tool. It's not even like, here's my money, give me my tool. No, it's like, well, you know, we got to see if you did any. So that is a huge problem with Mercedes, and they're locking so much of their stuff behind security. It's ridiculous. Charles Johnstone, 9G Tronic transmission fill adapters. That's a good one. Like I said, I didn't work on a lot of Mercedes, so it's hard for me to just recommend tools because I didn't really regularly work on them. I worked on them here and there and that kind of stuff. But yeah, fill adapter for their transmission. That's a good one, Charles. JDB64, Nissan and Toyota, just basic stuff. Any of the professional launch top done tools will be great. You know, you know, the Turbo 3 will do great for you, you know, for pretty much everything. You know, the step ups is larger screen and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, there's tons of options for basic repairs on, you know, those kind of cars. think that does. Yeah, that's more basic. So yeah, I mean, any of the launch Topton tools, the Topton Light that I reviewed not too long ago, that'd be a good option. It's under $1,000. Eric Jano, gear wrench is the new Craftsman, but better in my opinion. Last week, somebody suggested I did do a tier list for tools. I did. It's tomorrow's video. Thought it was a good idea for a video. So that's actually tomorrow's video. And I rank gear wrench versus Craftsman. So watch my tomorrow's video. Stoic Steel. The paper manuals can suck at times, but it's way cheaper than the annual online service. I can understand that. Paper because we don't work on them every day. Again, understandable, man. But it still sucks. Like, I can give you an example of relatively modern. I worked at a shop that was a Andrew Leitz. I was interested in the Topton Smart Phoenix. It allows someone to remote into it and do software updates for a fee. You know, Charles Johnstone AutoFix scan tools are good. They're an offshoot of Autel, so yes. I mean, I can recommend, you know, Autel, X-Tool, AutoFix as well. So, you know, basically bang for the buck is going to be something from, you know, the other side of the world, but they pretty much all work very similar. But I was working at a shop that was a Swedish specialty shop, and we worked on mostly Hondas and Lexuses and Toyotas. But anyway, the owner is an ex-Volvo dealer tech, and I was trying to diagnose the dealer add-on cruise control, and that was the one book he did not have on that model. And you know, and it sucked because I had to diagnose that one with no wiring diagram, no real information on how the system works. There was no information in all data in Mitchell because it was a dealer add-on, and that sucked. AutoFix cannot do gateway. It's a good point. Northern Grid had to break down and buy a Ford Transcooler line disconnect tool because all of the universal tools in my master kit didn't fit it. Yeah, I am well aware of that one. Charles Johnstone Lead Tech had a Topton and the battery completely failed after a month. It was bad. He spent over $1,000 on it. It should be under warranty. They should be taking care of it. It does suck that a brand new product failed like that, but yeah, Northern Grit, yeah, slightly too thick. William Yeoman, the Snap-on pass-through is awesome for programming if anybody's into programming. The Snap-on pass-through is the Cardac 3 Plus. So you can buy it through AES Wave as well. It's the same tool with Snap-on's skin on it. So all of this, all the software is Cardac. So Jason, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name. Isn't Snap-on in a lawsuit with Autel? I don't know. That is weird. Why is it doing that? No, it got settled for $33.62 million. Wow. I'll go ahead and read it for those. On January 16th, Autel Corporation, Autel New York, settled a $33.62 million lawsuit with Mitchell Repair Information Company and Snap-on over Autel's alleged theft of proprietary information and data. Snap-on Mitchell claimed obtained the data in 3 ways: by circumventing security measures on Mitchell 1 and Snap-on Diagnostics tools to spoof these devices and engage in mass automated downloads of proprietary information, using a different company's username and password to surreptitiously systematically pull plaintiff's proprietary data from its online truck services product, violating the terms of end user agreement, improperly to pull large quantities of. Well, alrighty, that lawsuit's settled. Snap-on lost the Autel lost their ass on that one. Buttfinger Esquire, I have an Auto Fix D1 Lite, and I'm at a Honda dealer. It does everything I need besides programming keys and modules that require programming by the special Bosch program. Got it on eBay for like $260. Charles Johnson got his money back. Okay, whoever sold it to him is going to send it back in warranty and then try to sell it again. I mean, it sucks. It's Charles. This is why I keep forgetting to switch cameras. Charles, my biggest problem with like having experienced it twice with Autel and their batteries dying, it's one of the reasons why I push people towards launch. They use Lenovo tablets. One of the biggest things holding back Autel, other than them stealing stuff, which I know they've I know they've stolen stuff. The little story. 2019, I was at TST and I was talking to the owner of Rostec Vagcom, and he was talking about how he knows Autel stole their software because they have keys or they have signatures in their code that is in the Autel tool. You know, we know Autel is, let's be honest, they're all kind of stealing information and going about it the back way. That's why they're better equipped to deal with modern cars, is because they go around the manufacturers, whereas Snap-on and OTC and the American companies buy the information from the, OEMs. So that's why they kind of do some more stuff, is because they circumvent the stuff that manufacturers don't want in aftermarket tools. So Cindy, Eva, don't worry, they scare easy, but they'll be back again. In all seriousness, Autel and Launch do have some great tools. Yes, they do. I've never complained about I have complained about Autel's software, but it's just bugs, updating stuff that doesn't work right, which I've had bugs with OTC. I've had bugs with Snap-on. It's a programmed product. Bugs happen. If you play video games, bugs happen. And my main video game I play is Rainbow Six Siege, so I know all about bugs. Charles Bello, anti-vibe hammers or Snap-on dead blow ball peen. I prefer the Snap-on now makes their own dead blows. They're not made by Trusty-Cook anymore. They now make them in-house on their kind of the similar design. I prefer the dead blow ball peens to the anti-vibe hammers. I've used the anti-vibe hammers, and while I still think the Snap-ons are better, because even with the anti-vibe, I don't think is as effective as a dead blow style hammer where it hits and stops. Whereas an anti-vibe is set up so the vibrations kind of dissipate before it gets to the handle. So that'd be my preference, is a composite dead blow ball peen. Oh, especially as bigger you go, it really becomes a lot more important that it hits and stops. Stoic Steel makes me wonder how Diesel Laptop hasn't been buried in lawsuits yet. Are they a USA company? Contact us. Sales. Nope. Nope. I don't know. I mean, they may actually buy their information, Stoic, from the manufacturers. I know they're much more limited than the OEM tools, but Robert A., about to start my first dealership job as an apprentice. Any tips for survival? Apprentice, learn as much as you can. Learn. Any training you can take it. Don't hesitate to do it. Make sure quality is your first priority. Speed will come with time. Make sure you fix the cars right. The most frustrating thing about a young technician is them rushing through a job and screwing it up. As somebody that has mentored many technicians over the years, make sure you are doing a quality job first and foremost. Second, learn when to ask for help. One of the biggest things that too many technicians I've dealt with over the years wait until it's too late, or they've already screwed it up way worse than it should have been. And I've had to, go in there and spend way more time than I should have. If you're not really good at drilling out bolts and you broke a bolt, maybe get the technician that is mentoring you to help you out with that before you start drilling on stuff. Because trust me, drilling wrong sucks and it's a pain in the butt to fix. So ask for help before you are really in a corner. But yeah, learn as much as you can. Take your time. Do good work. And, ask as many questions as your mentor is willing to answer. Don't make sure they're, don't annoy them, but ask as many questions as you can. Cindy Eva, what are your thoughts on GM aim deletes? They are technically a defeat of an emissions device, so technically illegal. The biggest problem with the older active air management systems is poor oil maintenance. This comes down to that. The Vloem, the manifold on top clogs, the valves start to stick a little bit, and it causes problems. Now there was some material problems, but all that. I've had good luck just replacing them and educating them on repeated oil changes. But the main reason it's caused by is lack of maintenance, is the best way to put it. You maintain your stuff, it'll work fine. You know, I had 140,000 miles on my 2012 that had active fuel management, 2012. And then I had I don't remember what year it was, but I had another truck that had active fuel management, and that had 240,000 miles on it, and never had the intake off, never had any problems with it for the engine. But if you if you look at the vehicle and you understand it's not going to be maintained, I would probably lean more towards a delete, because if they're not going to maintain their junk, it's probably going to fail again. Sergio, what's up? What bothers me, R3YNZ, what bothers me about Snap-on scan tools, if they still can't add topology to their software, especially for how expensive they are. I have lots of issues with Snap-on scan tools. A lot of it has to do with the cost versus what you get, and topology is a huge thing that they just can't get on board with for whatever reason. It kind of shows how out of touch Snap-on corporate really is. Like scan tool manufacturers from Autel and Launch added it as an update for some tools, whereas they can't do it on their $14,000 Zeus. Paulo, best advice, keep your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut. Remember, he's learning, Paulo. Ask questions. Cindy, that's what I thought. I just a little sore after a new lifter stuck on me. LOL, yeah. Quality of parts is not the greatest anymore. But yeah, no, it's... I had a different vehicle, but Chrysler 3.6. Always replace all the lifters when I replace the rocker arms or the camshafts. They get soaked in oil for several hours, and I always go back and make sure they're all lined up. I sit there and go check each one after I've torqued all the camshafts, and I had one that the lifter collapsed and cost the shop a camshaft. Like, it collapsed. It literally, I looked at it. I looked at that exact cylinder. I know I did. And it was on everything right. And the lifter collapsed. The rocker popped part of the way out because it collapsed. And new parts aren't always good parts, is what I can tell you. Charles Johnstone, oof. Oh, broken bolts. When I encountered northern rust gets here in Texas, I purchased the Hyper Steps from Matco. Paid for them on the spot. Yeah. Charles Johnstone sounds like prison. Prison, you got to add looking around. You're looking behind you to make sure you know. Mall Runner, which tool truck brand do you dislike the most? The most disliked is Cornwell. I've only dealt with one dealer my entire career. He lasted a year and a half. Snap-on tool dealers can be either really cool or just arrogant as F and douchey and don't want to take care of you. But brand wise, because that's just the dealer. I mean, that's corporate, little bit Snap-on mentality, but Cornwell, their dealer network just sucks. You know, in 30 years, I've had one Cornwell dealer. You know how many Snap-on Matco Mac dealers I've had over the years? I mean, heck, the second Mac dealer I ever had is still in business. And that was 19 years ago. Because my son is 19 and he was born when I worked at that shop. But yeah, that's Cornwell kind of sucks because their dealer network is so bad. And the likelihood of you buying tools and having trouble seeing another dealer to get them warranted is a pretty bad thing. I mean, regionally, you know, it varies. You know, I know people that have never seen a Matco dealer in areas or Mac, you know, but anyway, for me, that's who. Sergio, I had a senior tech that wouldn't let me talk to customers or ask questions. He was a jerk. I've never treated a junior tech like that. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. Some people asking questions of your superior, you know, asking questions is how you learn. How do you not how do you not learn if you don't ask questions to somebody that has more experience to you? If it's not broke, don't fix. Don't forget about destroying that thumbs up button. Thank you, sir. No, I don't, you know, I get irritated every now and then with young techs. You know, but I'm always willing to help. You know, they may get told, you know, you need to bring my attention to this sooner. You know, like I was saying earlier with advice, you know, this is a little far gone. I gotta, you know, do this and this and this or whatever, or, you know, stuff like that. But I've never had any trouble helping other people. I've always helped everybody in the shop. Carlos Bello, what's your experience with diesel? I used to work on garbage trucks. I worked on, after the garbage trucks, I've worked on Power Strokes. I've worked on some Cummings. I've worked on medium trucks since then, very limitedly. I've worked on Volkswagen diesels. I've worked on one Mercedes-Benz diesel. And, you know, I luckily don't have to work on them at this point. Cindy Eva, once you've been in the business for a while, you don't need as many tools. They disappear and warranty begins to suck. I've got a drawer of broken Snap-on, no service now. Yeah, especially, you know, I've always had the advantage of working at a shop with younger techs that are still buying, but like we had a independent guy and everybody kind of, you know, me and another tech that used to work there would go on, you know, he was an old tool guy. So we always called it going for a treasure hunt. Because we look around his truck and find just cool old stuff and, you know, cool stuff. And, you know, we'd buy stuff here and there. And, you know, one day he stopped coming by. So I no longer had warranty for Mountain. I no longer had warranty for some other stuff I bought on his truck. And yeah, it does suck. You know, we didn't have a Snap-on dealer at the old shop for a year and a half. And then we had a dealer for like a month, and then we had Bernardo, who was a cool dude, and he took care of us. But yeah, it does suck when they don't want to come by anymore because you're not buying anything. Sergio, I don't claim to know everything, but if you ask me a question, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. Nobody knows everything, Sergio. I don't know everything. Mario doesn't know everything. If you think you know everything, you're wrong. There's always more to learn. I was taught that I don't need to know the answer, but I need to know where to look for it. Yes. One of the best teaching tools I've had, one of the best teaching tools I've used over the years is helping people learn how to find information. I've talked to, my preference for all data is they hide stuff in all data. They hide stuff in Mitchell. I know where to find the hidden stuff in all data, which there's a lot more holes in it nowadays, but I can't find this information. All right, let's look it up. Up, there's your information. And showing them the process I use to find that information helps me, show them how to find the information for themselves, which is always a powerful thing. I mean, that's one of the things that people don't realize is helping people find the information they need makes them more effective. Charles Downstown, so far I've had really good experience with Cornwell here in Houston. The tools are generally cheaper than Matco by a lot. Quality is okay. They have some interesting special tools. Yeah, they are cheaper. I don't think their quality, the quality is okay. Like I said, video tomorrow, tier list. Carlos, do you see heavy duty guys switch to automotive? Not often. It's pretty rare. Usually if they switch to automotive, it's either circumstances or injury. They know how to fix things, but they hurt themselves and can't lift as heavy of things or that kind of thing, or circumstances like my circumstances where I couldn't find a job paying what I thought I was worth in my area. I found an automotive job that was willing to pay me what I thought I was worth, and so switched. But generally, most people that go to heavy duty stay in heavy duty. Sergio, yeah, ask for new apprentices that should learn to recognize when to step back and ask for help. Yes. Robert A., what are your thoughts on brake pressure bleeders? Any good ones you recommend? Is this for a shop or do-it-yourself type situation, or is shop equipment, or are you buying it to use it yourself in a shop or whatever? Cameron Francis, what was your first vehicle? My first vehicle was a 1981 Buick Regal. It was my mom's car. It blew a head gasket, and we swapped in the engine out of an 83 Buick that I got hit. That was my mother's car too. I got hit by a drunk driver and totaled the car, but the engine and transmission were still good, so swapped it in there. And shop, used by yourself. I prefer pressure bleeders. First off, they are much more effective than vacuum. Bleeders. All right, switch over here. All right, my preference is don't buy these. First off, they have a diaphragm in them that kind of fails. They kind of suck. My preference, not a individual tech tool. Keep in mind, this is the Mercedes-Benz factory tool. It was imported by Power Probe, and I sold it when I worked for Motorvac as a Motorvac product. Excellent tool. But obviously not, you know, $2,000 without adapters. Really expensive. You can go to Midivac, and they've got this hand pump pressure bleeder and the adapters, and you can buy adapters, and the coupler is standard. It's not a standard air fitting, but you can buy those adapters, and you can AST has adapters and that kind of stuff. But this is the adapter I would recommend, is like something like this Midivac, or Motive Products also has similar setup as well. Have actually used this tool. Not as doesn't work as well as a electric or air powered one that are like professional, like this one right here, but those will work great. Stoic Steel, I went to school for automotive, but now mostly do HD diesel, but I still do a fair amount of automotive. I wonder if nope. Yeah, I mean, lots of dealer techs have headed over to, or a lot of automotive guys have headed over to HD. You know, various reasons. I mean, it's really, they pay really well, you know, mostly fleets and people that need the vehicles back, so you're not worried about. I think the Midivac is bare minimum. You need to add the large Honda adapter for better cover. It's okay. Yeah, good point. I think that's the big Honda adapter, but don't quote me. But anyway, yeah. What do you suggest for a cradle table? Are you talking powertrain table, quick wrench tool junkie? Was looking at the AGM pressure tool, MIDI and Snap-on, but they're too expensive. Yeah, Snap-on's going to be too expensive. AGM, it's fine. The adapters is where it adds up pretty quickly, but either of those will work fine for you. They're really simple. You can actually make it from a garden pressure pump, you know. Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. Best vacuum coolant filler in your opinion? I'll get to your question in a second. Quick wrench. The vacuum fill from the tool brands is all made by the same company. That's going to be the best one. The one from the one with the cones doesn't work that well. It pops out. Looking at the Apollo lift on Amazon. I don't think that's the... Anyway. But yeah, the tool truck brand ones are the... The tool brands are the best ones. All right. So, balls to the wall. Money is no problem. The table from AGA. This thing is freaking awesome. Crap ton of adapters. It's really easy to hook up. Manual pump, so there's less stuff to go wrong with it. It is phenomenal. If you can afford it, it is awesome. I haven't used that one, but that is pretty much the best out there as far as real powertrain tables. And they sell adapters to make it even better. I'm over here. But like these are okay. As long as they have enough capacity for what you're working on. And these are probably all made by the exact same company, just painted different colors and stickers put on them. The OTC, this one right here, is the one I've used extensively. It is awesome, but the AGA one is definitely better. I couldn't find exactly what one you were on Amazon for. Let's see. But that's the two I have experience with. The rest of them I don't have experience with. So that's the ones I would definitely change the industry podcast. Hey, old fart, just stopping to say hello and hope you're well. What's up? Airlift. Okay. $1,100 Apollo lift. Pallet jack. Okay. Lift table. All right, that one right there. Stoic steel vac fill is basically required today. Yeah, it is. Vac fill is basically. Yeah, I said it was expensive. I didn't say, you're buying the Lexus of lift tables there. Move this over here. Switch cameras. I assume you're talking about this one right here. Maybe, I don't know. Seems like it'll work pretty dang good as long as that's not in the way. But yeah, I mean, that should be good. Definitely recommend buying having various amounts of wood to chalk it up, which you're going to have to with like the OTC. But yeah, no, that should work. Cameron Francis is the Milwaukee mid-torque good right now. It is my go-to half-inch impact. So yes. I have a stubby and it rattles like a son of a gun. Anyone use the Lisle 29? I hate this. Not that specific style of the not exactly this style of pad spreader, but I have used a similar one. I have that one right there. And other than this style, when it doesn't work right, it works great. Eventually it will wear out and it doesn't want to crank anymore. But they're cheap enough. I have 2 of them actually. So yeah, I have no problem recommending that tool. Closing all my open tabs on my browser. That is way out of my price range, but that table is amazing. Yes, it is. 716 auto, the master's in the house. How's that finger? It's still messed up. It still hurts. Not as bad. Swelling has gone down, but I jam it, it hurts. Jason bought the Matco airlift on pressure test so far. I really like it. Yes, that one. Change the Industry podcast. The AGA with the split table is epic for drive chain work. Yes, it is. It's also really, really expensive. MG, so I debated on the Tecton impact sockets, but ended up going with the Nico set. They seem to be nice quality and like the stampings. Cool. We break for school. I use a brake pad and pry bar. You think I haven't ever compressed a caliper with a pry bar and a brake pad? A lot of times, yeah, Charles knows that Apollo table does look pretty freaking beefy. A lot of times I will pull the caliper in by hand as long as it's not sticking. A lot of times when I'm doing brakes or when I'm doing just, having to take a caliper off to do a bearing or whatever, I'll compress it just with my hand. May not always work for everybody, and it definitely doesn't work for every brake caliper, but Cindy Eva, all I gotta say is the BMW factory lift table was amazing. I'm still waiting for prices in the aftermarket to come down some as they are a little ridiculous. Yes. Little background, Cindy was a trainer at a BMW dealer here in Atlanta. Now she owns a shop. So MG, what is the best tool for most all electric sockets plugs? They all seem a little different. It kind of kills the thumb and finger pressing down on some tabs, and some tabs and connectors seem different. Lisle tool. For me, most times it's a right angle pick. 9 times out of 10, like there's a special tool for Volkswagen, like coil connectors that clips on, and you pull a little bit, you push in and pull, you push the clip in, push it in a little bit, you pull it off. Most important when disconnecting electrical connectors is take the tension off the clip, push it in a little bit, then push it. But a lot of times when I've got a sticky clip or it doesn't want to come off, I go in with a right angle little pick and pick the tab up and pull it off. Like 99% of the time on like Lexus, Toyota coil connectors, I don't ever touch the actual thing because it'll just snap off. I go in there with a pick, very gently pry it up enough to slide it off. But that's really what I use most often is a 90-degree pick. As Steven says, I just use picks. Yeah. ISO, what's up? We're a flathead. Change the Industry podcast. It's better than buying a boat, though. Yeah. Yeah, once you use a powertrain table, it is a game changer. It's amazing. It makes that job so much easier, so much faster. Pulling a powertrain out in, had one out in less than 40 minutes one time. And it had already been out, but it was because it was an engine I had just put in and it had horrible rocker arm noise. But I pulled it out in like 40 minutes, and that was having to balance the engine on the table. But still, you can afford, especially one of those AGA tables. They are awesome. Stoic Steel for the money and quality. I've had great luck with most Carlisle hand tools. They're good. Vim has some good plug socket kits. MG sliced my thumb wide open on a tin can. Pull top lid needed a few stitches, but I skipped it. Seemed to be healing up finally. I was out of action on my car repair. That's still down. That sucks. My dad actually sliced that tendon in his hand, throwing a bag of trash, and the can came out and sliced his tendon. So we break for school. I used to crack the bleeder and push it by hand. Positive Incarnate, what air hammer bits do you use? I was thinking of just Harbor Freight because no matter which one is going to mushroom eventually, but any advice? Snap-on gold air hammer bits are warranted for life, and so are Matco's. So, and that's actually what I use. I have Matco and Snap-on, and when they get tore up, I just warranty them. Except one bit that will never be warranted. Snap-on gold, and the tip of it has completely gone, but it is a perfect air hammer bit for air hammering out wheel bearing cups. Because normally FYI, how I normally do press in wheel bearings is slide hammer out the hub, knock all the balls and the cages out, and then I literally air hammer the cup out. Works 99% of the time. Little trick to doing it, but yeah, that's either buy cheapy ones or, plan on replacing them. I'd always keep a sharp chisel on hand because once you use a chisel, you're going to have to redress it. So 716, what are your thoughts of the WorldPack free online training they offer for shops? WorldPack training is absolutely top notch. Definitely highly recommend every bit of training you can get from WorldPack. Even their online classes are all phenomenal. So if you have access to it and you can take it, take it. MG, I use my C-clamp on those calipers. Works every time. Steven, Mayhew air hammer bits are decent and cheap. Yeah, good point. Positive Incarnate, Vim just released electrical connector pliers, which they showed off. Like I said, I just use a 90-degree pick 90% of the time. Robert A, who do you think makes the best impact swivel sockets? Want to buy nice, not twice. You'll cry, but Matco. Matco's US made, not their ADV, but their actual US made pinless impact sockets are the best. I have them in 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2 inch, all the way up to 24 millimeters. My 1/2 inch stuff is a little bit, there's some snap-on still mixed in there, but my 24 is Matco. They are, in my opinion, the best impact swivels out there, period. You will cry, especially with the 1/4 inch. I've probably bought 10 of the 1/4 inch 10 millimeters, and I have 2. WCH7 is a VIM1, yeah. We break for school, hook pick gets under the tab and you just pull the pick, yeah. Carlos Billo Mac has at one point a set of terminal corrosion cleaners. Have you seen them? Know a part number? Oh. Oh. There's several options, and I'm trying to find the right term to find them. So this is primarily what I use. This is not the company I bought them from, but this is the kind of style I use. And you can buy them on Amazon. They sell them in the tool truck, but it's basically a diamond file on a pair of kind of tweezer kind of things. But that's what I use. I have a similar set of kind of that. And then if I find the other ones I've got, which I do not like as much. So I wanted to point those out. No, they don't have them in this listing. But yeah, those diamond files are what I use to clean terminals. Obviously flat terminals. Terminals for Dudes connectors. Innovative products. And that's actually the company I was trying to think of. That's the one I have right there. They've got this kit right here for those kind of connectors, as well as a bunch of different cleaning for different trucks, especially IPA is the company I've got. These are the ones I do not recommend. They're just too big and bulky. This is what I actually have, but they sell all these kits right here. It is put it in the chat. But yeah, that's that one's MG. A tendon doesn't grow back. It has to be surgically fixed. My dad had to have surgery to reconnect it. And Richard Morrison, cheap air hammer bits are not worth it. I've gotten metal in my skis from them 2 times. Only buy good ones after that. The gold Snap-ons are my go-to. I've literally implanted a Snap-on air hammer bit chunk in my safety glasses. So I don't know. We break for squirrels. If you get a Torx file set, they work good to clean electrical terminals as well. We break for squirrels, just take the 4 frame bolts out and get out of the way. LOL. How much is a transmission table and will it fold up out of the way? No. And you can buy transmission jacks for a couple $100 that go onto a floor jack, or transmission jacks will be a couple $100. I've never had good lucks with the ones that work on a jack. They tend to be really flimsy. MG, my manual gearbox is only 68 pounds. Do I need to support the engine while dropping it out? Depends on what kind of car it is. I have no idea if you drive an MG. I think you said you had an Acura, but don't quote me on that. Look at the engine mount configuration and figure out how the engine's supported and if the transmission will come out. You can support the transmission with just a floor jack. Just make sure you're not anywhere near where it can fall on you, which is the biggest concern with any type of transmission, but I would not recommend that. Positivity Incarnate, just curious why do you mainly use 1/4 inch? I mainly use 1/4 inch on small fasteners. 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 13, maybe 14. It's those sizes. They're usually going into shorter places, smaller places, like doing a Honda V6 timing belt, 1/4 inch on a Milwaukee, electric impact, 10 millimeter swivel. I can almost always get almost all of the front cover bolts out with the same tool. That's why I use 1/4 inch for stuff like that. Bigger than that, I use 3/8. I bought the whole set that goes up to 15, but I almost never use 15 at all. But I don't mainly use it. I use mostly 3/8, but when I'm doing 10 millimeter head fasteners, especially 1/4 inch. We break for scroll. You can French press it in and out. Careful doing that. I don't know if I've told the story, but Bam Bam at the old shop, when he worked next to me, has still, probably to this day, still has a nasty habit of bench pressing out manual transmissions. And I'm working in my bay. I'm butt deep in a car, and I hear him scream. And he was putting a clutch in a Honda 4-cylinder, I believe, and he tried to manually put the transmission in by himself with just going in. The problem is he got it in the pilot bearing, so it was kind of some extent stuck. But he'd been trying to get it lined up for so long that he basically had nothing left. And I ran over there, grabbed it from him, and was supporting it. And then I wiggled and wiggled and wiggled. Finally got it on the dowel pins, got it in there. And then I'm stuck standing there holding it, going. And he's on the floor just quivering from, having stood there trying to hold that thing up for that long. Like, dude, I need a couple bolts. Get over here. So be very, very careful bench pressing it. Outdoor Man, do you know what major tool trucks are carrying launch scan tools? I'm a new dealer technician thinking about getting a launch X431 to help me learn how to test systems. The Matco scan tools are all launch. So Matco sells their own version of them, but they are all launch scan tools. David White, have you ever worked on school buses? Any tips starting next week? Been a VW Audi tech in the aftermarket for 7 years, getting out of automotive. Well, good luck. I have worked on smaller buses. I've not worked on like the big buses, and all I can say is enjoy the wiring because it's going to suck. Any upfitter wiring is just almost always horrible. Tracking down electrical issues sucks on those vehicles because like they'll run like 100 lines of the same exact color wire. Okay, that site's getting annoying. Yeah, it as Steven says, get ready for a whole different beast. But yeah, that's the big thing. It's air brakes are different. Axle seals are, if you work, there's not going to be a lot of parallels to what you've worked with other than, take bolt out, take this out, but they're not usually that hard of vehicles to work on other than the electronics is where it comes for. Outdoors, man, I know Snap-on has guided component testing, but their scan tools are so expensive. LOL, yes. Steven, we are HD Diesel and get Autotex coming in. They usually fall on their face. Some stuff will carry over. Just be ready to learn. Yeah, good advice, Steven. We break for school. Snap-on scan tools are a joke. They still have the best graphing of any scan tool out there. But yeah, they're just so overpriced. MG, I've never had a small round file. When I need one, I need to clean up the speed sensor hole the other day. I usually go more aggressive than just a file, but anyway. Stoic Steel, if you don't have a bottle of baking soda and water mix for corrosion cleaning, you need one. Pretty much everybody does. MG, now I know better. I use my safety glasses after what you told us. Carlos, yeah, I agree. Things are heavy. Don't be a Superman. Best wheel chocks. Going to drop drive shafts on a Nissan Titan. The good rubber ones. They Harbor Freight sells some decent ones. They're actually in my garage. Get the heavy rubber ones, not the plastic ones. The rubber will hold better on the driveway or whatever. So I used to have a set of heavy duty ones for trucks, and I don't know what happened to them. I had two sets. I had them wired together for a pair because you chalk the front and rear on a garbage truck, and I don't know what happened to them. Positivity incarnate, if you could only have one scan tool to use for a scope and all your functions, scan tool functions, what would you get? The launch Mac Daddy kit. I wouldn't want to give up the functionality of the launch tool for Snap-on. Keep in mind, I still have a Snap-on Veris Pro, Veris Edge, and my go-to is still the launch tool. So if I had to deal with their scope, I'd rather deal with their scope than comparing the Hanatech to the Snap-on. I'd lean more towards the Snap-on scope, but overall, the launch Mac Daddy kit. MG, I've always gotten all my Accord V6 timing bolt covers out with nothing more than a 3/8 wrench and a small extension. Not sure why you guys need those wobble sockets. Speed. Speed. And not all vehicles have as good of access on the timing bolt covers as your Accord. Depends on the vehicle. There's one that literally the only way to get it is either jack up the engine so you have better access to it, or if you're doing it with the engine mount still in or don't have it jacked up, the only way to get it is a slimline ratchet and a 10 millimeter shallow socket. It's a Honda Fit. The trans is 68 pounds. should be supported. I agree 68 pounds can get heavy fast if you're 57 years old. I mean, cross brace, yeah. I don't know if I've ever had a... I have not worked on a lot of fits. I've only worked on a handful of fits. Billy at the old shop actually used to own a fit before he's bought his Wrangler or Ranger. I can't say I've ever had a transmission out of a fit. So I don't know. I'd re-brake for school. Listen to him. You probably need to brace up the engine. MG, I'm so proud of my new Nico socket sex. Plastic case is really nice for smooth and heavy. Carlos International is notorious for bundles of white wires with numbers that were worn off. LOL, yeah. I haven't, you know. MG, my new CV axle arrived. It's GSP by Rock Auto. Nothing looks really good. Not getting any slop in the outer jointed L. GSP is okay. It's not by Rock Auto. It's just a generic company that does axles. I've had hit or miss on them. I don't think I've had any trouble on Honda products. I have had problems fitment on Volkswagens and Audis and completely wrong applications on some cars, but I don't think I've had any trouble with Hondas, specifically with GSP. Carlos, John Deere has great diag trees and schematic. MG, can I get by with 2 wheel chocks? Yeah, that was just for HD stuff. And the shop I worked at was not really pitched properly. So depending on where you were in the shop, it could either go forward or back. So you wanted to chalk both when you had a transmission out or a wheel, you know, so that's why I had 2. Which launch are you loving? The X431 Throttle 3. That one right there. I've done videos about it. Done videos about the scope. That's my go-to. Uh, 716 Auto, my shop just bought the new EV Autel scanner with every attachment imaginable. Came in through 3 cases, $7,500 later. I mean, my problem isn't with the software or the scope is the exact same. It's a hand attack. So it's the exact same one that's attached to my launch. It's a decent scope. Stoic, I have a Snap-on Triton D10. It's been good so far. Granted, 99% of the automotive stuff I work on is domestic. Snap-on has traditionally been very strong on domestic and Asian. They really fall on European. MG, okay, I get you. I had my count mortar mount out and jacked up a little, makes it easier. Positive Incarnate, I got this Capri Stubby 3/8 and they are awesome. Cool. Carlos, Capri tools are kick-ass. Their hex and Torx sockets is great too. Yep, same as the Maximus Ford, a little different UI. Yeah, it's just got Matco's GUI on it instead of Matco's, but it's the same software, everything. Steven, I have some Capri 1/4-inch wobble extensions. The chrome is really nice. Anybody like Tecton chrome sockets? I will say that's nicer than my kit. That looks really nice. Steelman makes good stuff, so yeah, no, that looks pretty awesome for doing struts. You might run into some clearance problem with as tall as everything is, but like I've got the CTA set right here. That's the kit I have, and I have run into some instances where those are too tall. But no, that kit looks really good. What was the next one? All right, for best beginner scope, U-Scope. It is a $200, and this is the basic kit. So it just has 2 leads, a cover, the scope itself. It is a handy, handy little scope that allows you to learn a lot. This is just a great beginner scope. If you want to go higher, they have a more complete kit, which includes a low amp probe, which is this kit. You know, obviously more expensive. It's got a paddle tester to test ignition coils. It's got a ignition probe to test ignition systems for plug wires. I use a low amp probe all the time, but obviously it's a little more expensive, but that is a great tool to buy as your first scope because it is such a great learning tool and really affordable. Charles, I'm on and off. Happy Easter, everybody. Thank you. What's going on? How you doing? MG, I tore my lug nut well. Didn't know the impact socket is way too thick. Had to use a chrome sockets. Glad you like the advice. Yeah, that AES Waves little U-Scope is freaking awesome. Brian, how you been doing? Try to go down the wrong tube there. Does it have any pressure transducers? No. AES Wave. Let's see here. Scope accessories, pressure transducers. Because it uses BNC, you can get pressure transducers from whoever makes a pressure transducer as long as you have the kit to power it. But no, it does not come with a pressure transducer. But it uses standard BNC. So like you could use this one along with the, excuse me. You know, as long as you have the scope, you can adapt any pressure transducer to any scope you need. So it's just the additional cost of whatever kit you want. But they don't have one specifically for that particular tool. Get this. Wrong tube. No, it's single channel. No, it is only single channel. So unfortunately, that's why it's a beginner tool. It's $200. If you want to do 2 channels I would look at the next option for multi-channel. I don't want to do that one. Not going to recommend. Quick Google search is not finding what I want. But this scope from launch is made by a company called Hanatech. And you can buy it under the Hanatech brand. They have software that's very similar to the launch, that kind of stuff. And it's very affordable. As you can see, price on this from this site, whatever it is, $550. The Hanatech actual scope is cheaper, but you will need a laptop or desktop to use it, so there are some additional costs. The other option is the MSIG, which Mario started his channel with this scope, not necessarily this one. But if you Google MSIG automotive, you'll come up with the those are 4 channels as well. So that'd be the next step up, would be either the Hanatech or the MSIG, and then after that it's going to be Pico or ATS. As I'm going through and closing 15. How to have been good, switched over to heavy truck. Speaking of automotive, guys, going heavy duty. There you go. And it's a big learning curve, but I'm loving it. Love the U-scope. Yeah, well, I mean, learning, I don't mind recommending, especially to start out, I don't mind recommending the U-scope because it's really cheap and it can be really useful after you upgrade to a Pico or something like that. Quick wrench. Rotke has affordable pressure transducers. They do not Pico accurate, but if you know what you're looking for, they'll do the job. The issue I have with that is if you're learning, you're not going to know what you're looking for. And a lot of noise in the signal will cause some misinterpretations. How to, you can buy 2 U-scopes for cheaper than any 4-channel scope. True. 2-channel cheap Pico, 2204. Those are pretty cheap for $100. Cool. But you do need a laptop. Let's see what's going on. We break for school. Pico needs a laptop, but I don't want a Thrasher. I'm not afraid to bump around, but I need multiple channels. MSIG. MSIG is where you want to go. ATS has I think they still have it. Wave, U-scope. Actually, let's go. Web scopes. Pico. Actually, Really? Oh, there we go. That's why it didn't come out. I had a little. I mean, an option is if you have no problem burning money and you want a tablet attached to it, you can do the eScope Elite 8 with is it an 8 channel? That's probably why it's so expensive. Yeah, it's an 8 channel. They used to have a 4 channel version of that. They used to have a 4 channel version of that. I guess they don't anymore, but that was tablet based and it was all in one. But yeah, look at the MSIG is what I would recommend if you want a complete all in one kind of situation. Gallic Daddy, what's your go-to scanner for BMWs? I left the dealer after 14 years. Went Indy, got Volkswagen, Nissan, Mazda experience, and all data has zero info on DTCs. BMW, late model BMWs, yeah, they kind of suck. Pico database looks indispensable for known goods. Another good resource is Automotive Waveforms on Facebook, I think it's called. And there's a whole group where they just post known goods and no charge and you can just search. That's another good place for good known goods. Galactic Daddy, information is your best bet on information for BMW. Late model BMW information is either bite the bullet and make your shop get a ICOM and subscription to BMW or Identifix. There's no guided fault finding in any tool. That's really important to understand. There is no guided fault finding in any tool but the BMW tool. For actual diagnosis, that if I don't have the BMW tool, which I don't now, my old boss didn't want to actually pay for it on a regular basis. So it was always a nightmare to get that tool up and running because I always had to screw with it for, an hour and a half updating it before I could use it. But anyway, my go-to tool for BMWs is generally my launch tool. Resets, I'd use BMW, but resets, I tend to use Snap-on if it's in my current update of my scan tool, but launch is usually what I use, and then Identifix for information. Unfortunately, that's going to be one of your big problems with diagnosing BMWs, that you don't know the known pattern failure. Yeah, no problem, Cindy. But yeah, the information is going to be a problem with BMW's late model. We break for school. The funny thing about scopes, I generally have a good idea what's wrong. I just like to test things and verify my assumption, but it's a fun way to kill time. It's a fun way to learn too, man. Even like a breakdown of the DTC conditions for setting or a different descriptor of the fault. Depends on the vehicle manufacturer, how they set that out. GM, Chrysler even have really good information up until a certain point of code set criteria and all that. Volkswagen, it's just like BMW. Most of their information is in Otis, which is their version of the OEM scan tool. Mazda is kind of a crappy company as far as information. If it's got an equivalent model as a Ford, look it up as a Ford. You'll find the same if it's a Ford vehicle, rebadged as a Mazda, look under Ford. You'll probably find much more information on it, but it's unfortunately the vehicles that you're talking about are the worst as far as information across the board. Nissan literally sucks for information. Like misfires in a scan tool. Don't have any. Screw you. So, anyway. All right. $313S, what do you do when you tell your GM a car has a timing problem, but he just wants to throw parts at it, even though the service information PIDs, DTCs point towards poor timing? All you can do is try to convince him he's wrong, and then throw the parts at it, and then throw it back in his face that it didn't fix it. If your general manager isn't listening to you about what's wrong with the car, he's not going to listen to you. So do what he asks, and then go back to him and go, it's still broken. Now you going to do what I said? Positivity Incarnate, how do you tell the launch scan tools apart? I look on Amazon and feel like they're all the same with different prices. You have to remember something with Launch, Autel, etc. They have the US variants, and then they've got the Chinese gray market ones. Gray market has a lot of different options. Look at Launch Tech USA, Autel USA. Those are the supported models that you want to buy if you want to have any support. So if you're buying anything above a cheap little scan tool or whatever, to throw in your glove box or something like that, get the US made ones. Or not US made, but US supported. And if you want to know what's officially supported, go to Launch Tech USA or Autel USA. And they have the models that they actually support. Nomad Troy, I got laid off after 6 months at a shop. I worked at 5 different shops in a 2-year payday. I'm ready to look for another trade. I don't think it's worth the studies, but for my own benefit. Nomad, look around for a good shop. Where are you out of? Service writers are awful, and store managers, lubes are not worth it by a long shot, since the service writer gets you laid off. Sounds like you're working at tire stores. Stop doing that. Go find a good independent shop that is not a chain store or anything like that. Chain stores are as bad as dealerships, as they're just horrible. So find a good independent shop to work at before you give up on the trade. Working at that kind of store, and when I talk chain stores, I mean, pretty much all of the chain stores, if they have a national presence, they're probably going to be pretty bad. So try to find the San Francisco Bay Area. How to, are you still in the chat? Because no, he's in San Diego. No corporate shops. I'm done. Go to a mom and pop where they can grow. You can grow with somebody experienced you can learn from. Yeah. Find San Francisco's kind of hard. But yeah, San Francisco pretty large. So find a good independent shop to go work for, learn and grow as a tech. I've done videos on interviewing shops, and, look at the shop itself, how it runs, and try to find a place that'll take care of you. Indy, they also suck. You got to find a good shop. There's good shops out there. Yeah, I for a second, dude, A shop that doesn't want to stock anything, they're broke. Not a good shop to work at. A good shop will have common items stocked, and, you know, yeah, as Raymond Lopez says, small family shop I recommend. 313S, what do you think about owners who ask you to sell flushes or things a customer doesn't need? Is absolutely disgusting. I cannot stand that. I look at a vehicle based on what it needs. If I think it needs a transmission service, I'm going to sell a transmission service. If I don't think it needs a transmission service, I'm not going to sell one. I've had this fight many times where service rentals will just add services to a ticket to bulk it up. And it's like, you do realize that this is a problem, right? That's not what you're supposed to be, taking care of the customer's car. No, I don't sell, I don't want to sell brakes at 6 millimeters. I don't want to sell services that the car doesn't need. I want to take care of the customer as best to my ability, not screw them over. Nomad Troy, the whole place is broke. The lifts, everything, the lights. Yeah, you work for a shithole. Let's be honest. How to automotive, from my experience, if a shop doesn't have stock in anything, they're fourth and inches from bouncing your paycheck. Yes. MG, yeah. I mean, I understand your frustration, Nomad. It does suck. I've been there. Believe me, I've been there. Find a place that will take care of you. Find a place that doesn't look like a hellhole. Is it hard to start your own shop? Hard? No. Expensive? Very much so. Especially depending on the area you live in. The joke about starting an automotive business is, you want to make a small fortune in automotive repair, start with a large fortune. Equipment, insurance, place to actually do the work can add up very quick. And then you've got all the reoccurring costs and everything. It can be really expensive. $313S. I have an owner who tries to do that, and I challenge him on that by saying that's stealing. I don't ever do it. 16 years experience. I like to sleep at night. Yeah, exactly. I can't justify stealing from a customer. I even on the weeks where I ain't making crap, I'm not selling a customer that doesn't need something. Period. MG, both wheels are supposed to turn. Right wheel tries to turn, but I need to help it. Then I hear a clunk. If I give it gas, it will spin and then clunk and then traction control shuts me. Mobile business is cheaper from Nomad. Binding somewhere in the suspension, probably ball joint or maybe strut top would be what I would think. Yeah, if you're opening a shop in California, it's stupid expensive. Brian, what isn't stupid expensive in California, man? Yeah, you need 300 to 500K, and that's depending on where you live. Yeah, California is expensive, period. Yeah, San Francisco is is super expensive. It's $5 a gallon, 6 to be 8. Yep. If I started a shop in California, it'd be Mobile, Space Cat. Brandon Milstead, is it worth moving to Atlanta area? I don't know if it's worth it. Depends on where you are. I've lived in Atlanta for 38 years. So I only lived in Milwaukee till I was 11. So I really don't know where I don't have any advice on moving to Atlanta. There's lots of opportunities here, but there's lots of opportunities in every other city. So every other big city. Atlanta's traffic sucks. So something to be very aware of. Moving around Atlanta sucks. And it is a big city. It is a very large city for what it is. So you're better off opening a food truck in Cali than car repair. How will you make up 300K? Yeah, it's a Montana is God country. You can make $20 an hour at McDonald's, though. I want to move out of the Rust Belt. Yeah, no, I mean, it's other than the problem. The problem with that is Atlanta is also a very transient city because you have a lot of people that move from other parts of the country, i.e. the Rust Belt. So you're not guaranteed not to see Rust Belt cars here. Trust me, I saw a lot of rusty cars at the old shop, less so where I'm at now, but it's Gordon Freeman, hey, our dealership is switching to a new DMS, and I think the software will spike up the turnover rate. Really? Just for the software? I guess a lot of complacency there. I don't know. That kind of sucks. 313S, do you think making under 50K with 16 years of experience bad? Yeah, that's horrible, dude. Unless you're in a very small area, you should be making probably 10, 15,000 more than that. Yeah. Yeah, $20 an hour at McDonald's and you pay 25 for a meal. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, that's low for 16 years experience. As long as you don't suck as a technician, you should be making way more than that. I'm the Metro Detroit area. Yeah, you definitely should be making more than that. That do suck. Nomad, there are so many immigrants in California, you have to compete with their sponsorships. Well, at least they're legal. Yeah, that does suck. But I don't know, man. Maybe you ought to look at moving out of San Francisco area. Yeah, that sucks. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie just kind of said where you should be at in his area. So yeah, you're definitely not making what you should be. So, and you said earlier he was trying to scam people, so it might be time for greasing them wheels. Gear Wrench, yes. The problem is we are so undervalued at the moment. I would disagree with that, but because a lot of shops are having to cough up more money, a lot more money. Brian McFarland, what's up? It's getting better, but it's still not enough. Brandon Melstead, any advice for working on rusted cars since you worked on them? Raymond says maybe move to Tucson. Torch, inductive heater. I find rust penetrant does nothing. Sacramento's way cheaper. Yeah, lots of parts of California are better than San Francisco. The morning is big heavy equipment. How to automotive. Tucson short of auto mechanics. And a torch, yeah. Torch, inductive heater. You're going to use fire. That was supposed to say the money is big in heavy trucks and equipment. How-to's in California is not in your area, but, you know, it's an option. Induction is the best. Quick wrench pay rates are very much the same there in your area. I have friends that work in Georgia. Our pay rates are about the same. Northern California is way cheaper than Southern in some places. Yeah. Can't be stuck if it's liquid. Yes, exactly. That and vibration. Vibration is very much your friend when it comes to vehicles. So, all right. I've been on for 2 hours plus. Jason says now just making over 25 an hour, 34 years in the business. Central Wisconsin sucks. Rural areas are different. Just are. You're not going to have the high labor rates. What do you think about automotive unions? I'm not big on unions. I think they they start good and then they wind up being full of themselves and pad too many of the union bosses' pockets, and they kind of destroy they destroyed Detroit. So, but the bladder is about full. 75, Cornelius says 75 base for working on fleet trucks and equipment in Cleveland, Ohio. I typically run 80, 90K with overtime, 18 years wrenches. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it here because the bladder is a screaming. So appreciate everybody stopping by. Thanks for having a really good conversation. Is Mama Pop better than a union? Yeah, probably. A good shop that'll take care of their employees. We are 182 an hour. Yeah, that's about Atlanta. Breakfast Squirrel, to change the industry, guys are paying 100K. I appreciate it, guys. I'm gonna head out. Have a good night. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.